So here's a showcase of this infinite book application that I made. Basically, it is a infinitely nestable tree structure that has a root node, and you can essentially create a book by starting to create subchapters and stuff. You can change the personality of the writing for the sort of author of the book. You can update nodes, you can delete nodes, you can delete all the children of a node, and then you can export it. So if you describe some chapters that you want, um, let's say adventures in using large language models to save the world. And if you click that, it'll send off the query to OpenAI's model. It's using GPT-3. Then it'll make a couple of these subchapter nodes. Then you can also create some more. Let's say chapters on the importance of alignment of language models. And you want some chapters on that. So it's created some on alignment, created some on just language models in general. Let's say you want to write in the actual node chapter root. So you could give a label to this root. You could say that how to effectively use large language models. And let's say let's just start out a paragraph. You don't even have to put much except that. And let's say you want it to write in that chapter, write about the powerful capabilities of language models and how they are changing the future of work. So I give that instruction to it. So it's going to send a prompt over, and there we go. It wrote some stuff about it. Let's say you go into one of these nodes, and let's say you want to have it talk about various methods for alignment and precise alignment. So it'll use the prompt of all the previous stuff that's been written, and it will generate some stuff over here. So you can go into any one of these, and it's like you're jumping into the children of that specific node. So let's say you want to add some more stuff here for this node's description, explain how writing a book can be easier through a language model's assistance. It's a very meta thing that I'm doing. I'm writing a book about how to write a book using the thing that I'm already writing it with. But yeah, this as we can see, it's got some good words, compelling stories, analysis. So you can go back up to the parent node, and then you can see that anything that was written in that node, you can sort of see. If you want to write about, let's say, how do we combine language models together to reap the rewards of multiple models, and that's the chapter. And then it will quickly create the nodes of that over there, harnessing the power of multiple ones, explain what using multiple models means. And then just give that instruction. So it's actually taking as the prompt the children as well, these children labels, these subchapter labels. So there you go. And so if you want to export this, there's two methods that I made. You can either export it as like a tab with new lines, and after the squiggly is the actual data. So this is the label, this is the data, and so it's just really long string. This allows you to easily just copy paste this, put it in a notepad, and then sort of parse it. I haven't made an import thing yet, but that's gonna be the next thing I make. You can also use this numbered thing, so it'll actually get the nested structure of the book so far that you've generated, and as you can see, it'll sort of put that information there. If you you can keep nesting it further and further. So eggs Benedict. You can just put something completely absurd, and it'll combine it with the rest of the prompts so far. So now it's talking about AI and eggs Benedict. Let's go even further. Talk about how can AI chefs create new types of food. It's generating those chapters. And there we go. So it's really interesting because then if we have this, we can see that it will recursively sort of add to that that layer that you've sort of added to. So this can go on arbitrarily. This number, it's parsing all these from a string list, and it's using the amount of. So actually, in here, the tabs are actually based on the depth that is there, and so you can just copy paste this and then use this as the book that you're publishing or whatever, or maybe you're trying to make a document to explain some information, but you want it to be in a structured manner, and so actually you could use this to communicate with a language model for prompt engineering, for example, for like an alignment policy. You could be like, hey, here's some bad things that you shouldn't do, here's some good things you should do, in a way that's sort of structured and organized. Really cool. And so basically it's limited by the length of the prompt, but I will probably add some stuff that allows for summarization, so you can keep going and going for the writing. Yeah, and so this is made in Python, uses Flask and MySQL database on the back end. So this is the tree node like class. There's a bunch of helper methods in it to do all this special stuff. Yeah, you can basically store a bunch of information related to trees. Let me see if I can. It's kind of a messy diagram, but let me see if I can make a new one. So the way that it kind of works is basically you have this root node, and underneath it you've got all of these children. You can have as many as you want, and then basically the entire book, or any sort of hierarchical language structure that you want to create, any kind of document like that, this can basically create it, and you can parse it using tree search algorithms. So you can just go down, grab all of the sort of each node has a node label and some node data associated with it. So this is like, let's say, the paragraph, and this is the title of the subchapter or sub-subchapter. However many layers deep you've gone, you have a node ID. So this is its globally accessible ID. You also have the parent ID. If it is the root, it's just it's none. But one of these guys, they all have the same parent. This guy, um, and this auto increments. It's just some integer number, and so you can basically use the AI, the language model, to um, speed up the development of the structure. So yeah, that's pretty much how this works. It's called the Babelbook because the Library of Babel is all about basically, there's every single book possible, and I like reading a lot. There's a lot of tokens that I've gotten into my brain, but sometimes I'll read a book, and the book will have concepts in it that I think are more interesting than the actual book itself. And I was like, oh, I wish I could dive into that concept. I wish I could, generate a whole book based on that concept. And so I did it. I created an application that allows you to basically take a concept and then sort of expand on it. And then, well, now we have a infinite book generator. So that's how that works. Very cool use case, I would say, of language models. And I think there's you could definitely use this to create programs as well. You could just define behavior. Since Python uses like the static sort of checker for seeing the syntax, you could sort of have a similar thing for XML parsing, whatever. Pretty much any kind of language parsing and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the Babelbook application. I do mean to put it online somewhere, but I've got a couple things I got to do before that happens. There's some user login stuff that I'm working on for that. Yeah, so it's also some cool stuff you can do is like you can just give a completely something I like to do is just give a completely absurd thing like the Burger King has invaded the planet Earth and is now taking over. Sometimes you can just have it write stories, various characters, whatever. Yeah, so the invasion, it's just a very fun thing. I barely started actually playing with the generating a bunch of stuff, but I have an example here of some stuff. I just made up a random word and then had it just explore those ideas. You can just literally put in random words and it will make something. I had the sort of first layer of the children be about dreams, and then I just sort of put random things about sort of Burger King. I don't know why. Maybe I'm hungry. CERN, nuclear fusion. But yeah, that's this. Thanks for watching.